So, my father is a naturopathic doctor. He's retired, but when I was growing up, I grew up in the community of naturopaths emerging in the 80s out of a cultural revival movement that had begun in the 60s and 70s and that had traveled the world in its effort to revive culture and to understand it and weave it. And with our new kinds of mobility, of transportation, and just access internationally to culture that grew in our parents' generation, my upbringing was immersed in natural medicine and the discovery of traditional culture and natural health being revived and reclaimed after a lot of history of erasure of traditional culture and medicine. We had allopathic medicine, which had come from a huge, long legacy of genocide, cultural and human genocide. And not just human, non-human as well, because over the hundreds of years of colonization of empire around the world, we had the colonization in Europe happen in tandem that people don't really talk about that much, of traditional culture there, which included queer and trans people and the cultures of that, as well as the cultures of all the sacred. And 80% of the food that people harvested and lived on was from the commons before that. So this attack on culture was an attack on sovereignty of the people in the commons. To have the diverse access to food for harvest in the commons, which is a non-monetary system. It's a collectively managed, negotiated space. People would pasture a lot. They would use the commons for that as well. And they would hunt and they would glean. There's a lot of food that they would have. Okay, so this, I would say, around the world is a trend from indigenous traditional medicine, is that you have access to plenty of good, healthy food. Now, in my life, when I grew up into this modern version of this scenario, which is still dealing with the effects of this, everything's privatized and monetized. You have to buy everything. You even have to rent your ability to sit somewhere, a lot of the time, or park. It's really intense. We've got everything. You pay for everything you're going to eat or any space you're going to occupy. It's like, whoa. So, can you imagine less rent, less money for food? Like that can you imagine living less monetized and privatized? Just imagine. Okay, anyways, for a second. There's other things that hold those systems together. Other ways of monetization, currency, and privatization, and even all these other systems. Okay, I'm not going to say. But I think that what we're looking at here is people are judging natural and unnatural in a revival movement that's post-genocide, post-colonization of culture, knowledge. Knowledge that's our traditional wellness practices and wisdoms from our ancestors. This is our collective inheritance. Okay, to tie it back to queer and trans people, we had cultures in traditional cultures around the world that represented diversity of genders in many places. We had cultures, deities, gods that were multi-gendered and diverse gendered in some of our ancestries around the world. Not all, I'm just saying, among many things from traditional cultures that were colonized that we have, we're going to recognize a diversity of genders that does exist, as well as a diversity of food, a diversity of sovereignty, So people having their relationship with these things and their life in a way that's a bit more predetermined, like, and just like everyone's sovereignty is a little more built into everyone's flow. And how do I say that? Gosh, this might sound a little bit hard to wrap your brain. Like, what am I even talking about? But